Well, the association provides a common platform on which our members can discuss and share issues which are common amongst the membership, and then have a stronger voice when dealing with these issues with government or with any other bodies to which it is relevant. And there are also some other objectives, which, like, for example, making sure that the training is available amongst the institutions and that the education is also available. So it's quite diverse, the objectives we have, but overall it's trying to consolidate all of the aims and the objectives of the institutions who are members of the association.
You're the Chief Financial Officer of a private bank. Are you well placed to represent the views of the wider industry?
Well, the fact that I work at Turicum Private Bank is special in the sense that it's the only Gibraltar bank. We have no subsidiaries and no branches outside of Gibraltar, and we are not a subsidiary or a branch of any international institution. So it's really a gem within the jurisdiction. But that said, it doesn't mean that the association applies a completely unbiased view, and it's very important that as the president of the association, I try and be as fair as possible in forwarding that view to whoever it is that needs to receive it, which is sometimes difficult because it's a very diverse banking industry that we have in Gibraltar. But I think we do a good job of trying to get that message across.
What do you think will be the main challenges for your association in the coming months and years?
As a result of the crisis, there's a lot of discussion that the crisis itself was created by the bankers, and this has led to a reaction from governmental bodies and governmental institutions to try and remedy this so that it doesn't occur again in the future, which is absolutely normal. As a result of this, there's new legislation being enacted which tries to limit or tries to reduce the risk which is available to take from the banking institutions, which should in turn make it safer to do banking globally. And it's the adoption of this new legislation which is one of the most difficult things that we're dealing with at the moment.
Well, one of the principal reasons for the global financial crisis is that banks were lending in a risky fashion. Would it be fair to say that locally banks are lending less now?
Well, I think the change in terms of the appetite to lending has had a dramatic change in some jurisdictions. That's for sure. There's been it all initiated in the US with the mortgage industry and some of the products which span off that. But I don't think in Gibraltar we've had the problem to the extent of other jurisdictions. It's true that some of this new prudent approach to doing business may have its repercussions in the sense that a loan which may have been granted 5 years ago, today you fall just over on the other side of the fence and you find that you're being denied. But at the end of the day, it is to protect the banks and it is to protect the public, and it's internal policy as well to an extent with the institutions themselves, and it's done in the best interest of the jurisdiction.
But should big banks be bailed out by governments?
That's an interesting question. When governments take the decision to bail out a bank, they do it because they feel that the consequences of not doing so are going to be more disastrous to the public than if they didn't adopt that approach. And I can understand for governments that it's a very difficult decision to make because normally it comes out of treasury, it comes out of public money. And this is not going to go down well with the public. But at the end of the day, when you explain that the consequences for the public pot would be even more disastrous if they weren't to take this route, I think that is a valid reason to take that decision.
Yes, but if banks are themselves significant beneficiaries of a capitalist system, should they also not be made to play by the rest of the rules laid down by capitalism, i.e. they should be allowed to fail?
Well, there has been a lot of abuse in the banking industry, and that has led to, or in part has led to the situation we're in today. And that's why we're trying to remedy this. Well, not us personally, but there's a lot going on internationally to try and ensure that the framework which is put in place, this new framework which everybody is working towards, reduces, you can't eliminate the risk, but reduces very much the risk of such an occurrence occurring again in the future. And I am confident that if things are done correctly, the risk will be limited. And us here at our own institution are already feeling the consequences of that.
In recent weeks, the Gibraltar Savings Bank has been in the headlines. What role does the association envisage the Savings Bank playing in the coming months and years?
The Gibraltar Savings Bank, I think one of the issues that we may have at the moment is that there's a lot of speculation in Gibraltar, and there isn't really any facts on which we can derive answers. We've been informed that the Gibraltar Savings Bank, the role of the Gibraltar Savings Bank is to fill some of the gaps which we currently have in the market, which is fine. At the end of the day, as long if the Gibraltar Savings Bank can do business which is not currently available, this must be to the benefit of everybody.
But you mentioned that facts are a little thin on the ground at the moment. Are banks concerned about the savings bank?
There is a concern, but I only think that the concern we have at the moment is as a result of this uncertainty, is as a result of the information not being available. And it's only when this information is available that we'll be able to draw up conclusions on what form this institution will take. But I believe and I hope that the government have made an informed assessment of this role. And as I said earlier, if we are able, via the Gibraltar Savings Bank, to do business which is not currently being done, or attracts even new business which is not possible to be done in Gibraltar, then this can only be a benefit to the jurisdiction as a whole.
The opposition has argued that the savings bank should be regulated like other banks by the Financial Services Commission. The government has responded saying that it has its own piece of legislation and is perfectly accountable. Does the Bankers Association take a view?
This is a complicated question, and my personal view is that whatever decision ultimately results of this particular question, we've got to make sure that Gibraltar as a jurisdiction is perceived to be doing sound banking within Gibraltar. And I am sure and I trust that the government, whether they take the decision that the legislation is sufficient or not, that this perceived soundness continues to be as we've always had it in the past. This is absolutely fundamental.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.